Mike, alcoholic. I think if you ask anybody in the program, if you just work the first step and don't go any farther, do you think you'll relapse or drink again? And I think 100% of the people would probably say, of course. But what's interesting is I'm glad you mentioned self-knowledge, and the reason self-knowledge is going to avail me nothing because, my experience when I was looking in Bill's story, when he talks about self-knowledge, he defines it on page 7. He talks about my incredible behavior in the face of a desperate desire to stop was explained. This was it, self-knowledge. It's not how many degrees I have, how many times I've gone to the psychiatrist, how well I know the big book. It is simply saying self-knowledge is understanding the first step and saying, oh, that's what's wrong with me. We'll holler, just like Fred and Jim did. Now they came back and they worked the rest of the steps. And that's really illustrative to me that if you're new, get the first step, that's great. Go on with the rest of the steps so the problem can be solved. Somehow there's a sick comfort in understanding what the problem is. Oh, that's what's wrong with me. I've been wondering, and there's a comfort with that. Oh, I'll just be on guard, like Fred said. But it doesn't work that way with us. This idea that, I'm going to be on guard somehow fails unless I have other tools at my disposal, unless I have other things to focus on besides the drink. We're going to meetings, friends in recovery, maybe helping somebody else. All the things that I, in the beginning, think have nothing to do with my problem. Those are the things that solve my problem. I'm glad somebody mentioned young people, in the book where it talks about 2 pages after where you read, it talks about to be gravely affected, one does not have to drink the quantities or go down as far as some of us have. And the fact that they wrote the 12 and 12, and in the beginning of that, it talks about the whole reason we're doing this is to raise the bottom for the rest of us. So sometimes those laundry lists of questions can do more harm than good. I'll explain. There's a pamphlet called 44 Questions. And if you're new and you come in here and you haven't done a lot of these things, I guarantee you can discount a lot of those questions and convince yourself you're in the wrong place. I did it. I came here at 22. But what's full of cosmic irony about that particular pamphlet, 44 Questions? There's only 2 questions that mean anything, and they're on page 44. Now try that out for cosmic irony. And if you're new, Bill W. knew, let's don't complicate this thing. There's only 2 questions that every single person can answer correctly. He said, if you ever tried to quit for good and meant it, and can't quit entirely, and when I drink, I can't control the amount I take. That means if I ever sang the Alcoholics National Anthem, I'll never do it again. And drank again. Yeah. You don't have to be old or new to understand that. You didn't slide off a rainbow in here, neither did I. I tried to quit and was unsuccessful. That's why I'm here. The second part, if I can separate it, that was me. I'm up at 2 or 3 in the morning still drinking. All my friends are going to bed. I got 3 beers left in the 6-pack, and I can't even enjoy those because I'm thinking about where I'm getting the next 6-pack. I was dealing with a phenomenon of craving. You got to wrap your head around the fact that I had to get it in me. And I couldn't stop until I was out of money. And if I would contemplate sometimes illegal ways to get more. That's how I know I had lost control. But the crux of my problem here, if you're new and you're off the stuff, if you're in here high, God love you. But I'm just saying, if you're off the stuff, I'm not dealing with the phenomenon of craving right now. I'm dealing with the mental obsession. I'm dealing with the first one. Because the book talks about the crux of my problem is the mental state preceding the first one. That's where these steps come in. That's where 2 through 12 come in, not just 1. It's fun to reminisce on the first step, and we can tell stories and we can laugh, but there's very little value in it past relating to someone. If you're new, what you really want to hear is how somebody got out of the ditch, and more importantly, how they're staying out. When I think about those methods on 31, and he talks about the method, have us sworn off for good. And there's probably a bunch more methods these days. You could probably add about 10 or 15 more new methods and get rid of some of them old ones that don't really apply anymore. There's a lot of new methods. But then on 144 it talks about, aren't you interested in results rather than methods, Mike? And one of the biggest results to me is, when it talks about on 85, I haven't sworn off. One of those methods were sworn off. Haven't sworn off, it's just been removed. I'm safe and protected. That, my friends, is a result. That a result I can guarantee you, just like it's been guaranteed to me. If I move on with the rest of the steps, I don't have to worry about and fear the grim reaper of alcohol lopping my head off from behind. I don't have to live in fear, sit on my hands. When is it going to happen? I can live life comfortably and freely and accomplish things in my life. If you're new, you can look forward to that without that fear that I used to roll with. I just wanted to share about self-knowledge and what it really is and what it isn't. I wanted to share about, if you're new, stick with the two questions that really mean something. Don't get bogged down on all the things I didn't do and convince yourself you're in the wrong place, like I dang near did. Think about what the real result is. Get rid of all those methods and think about the real result and what is it going to take to get there, that position of neutrality, safe and protected. Do what the people that have been here for a while have done. Sometimes this way of life might not sound as fun as that old life. I don't know about you, I about had all the fun I could stand. And being incarcerated, being in an institution, which is what a halfway house is, when somebody's checking you at bad check or maybe making you pee in a cup, you're institutionalized. Let me give you a promise. These steps will free me from all sorts of institutionalization, and I can walk and get in my car and go where I want without fear. Today, one day at a time. And nobody has to check up on me. That, to me, is when true recovery begins. When I can get in my car and there ain't no judge saying anything to me and there's nobody else making threats, and I still get in the car and choose to go to a meeting. That's full freedom here. And I've been coming back here into that state for a long time now, and I appreciate what the lady said about solid alcohol. A lot of people come to AA thinking they can still be high on other stuff. I'm here to say that it's all or nothing, baby. Just wanted to share that's a lot of newcomers in here. I hope to see you here next year, one day at a time. I've had a spiritual awakening as the result of these steps, and I'll pass.